This episode of the Jaguar Football Podcast is brought to you by Lorenzo's Tacos and Burritos, located at 1841 Old State Route 21, addicted to tacos. Hi, everyone. I'm Carl Bierock. Welcome to episode 4 of our podcast. And joining us, as always, is Dr. Nicholas Baer. He's the head coach of the Seckman Jaguar football team. Coach Baer, thank you again for your time today to join us on the podcast. And we are getting down to the nitty gritty here with what's going on with the program.
Yeah, glad to be here again, Carl. Thanks for having me, putting this together. Yeah, we're in it. Next week we'll have helmet and shoulder pads on, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it gets exciting. It gets exciting. And, not that we're necessarily a news organization here and trying to break news, but there was some conversations and some emails about the condition of our field. And so I was just wondering if you could provide us an update on and share what you know at this time with what's going on with the field.
Yeah, with the turf, I always kind of tell people, there's people that make more money than me making these decisions and kind of coming up with timetables and things like that. And we have all got bosses, and I'm kind of on a need-to-know basis, like a lot of us in our businesses and jobs too. But the turf is in definitely pretty rough shape. After Hurricane Beryl came up through, I believe, last Tuesday, we got out on the turf Thursday as a team, and I think that was our sleds day. And, we noticed some noticeable damage on the turf, a 40-yard seam on the sideline. So, if you got carpet in your house and you have a seam come up in your carpet, you have somebody come out, they stretch it. I'm not a turf expert, but I don't think that that's something that they can fix. And obviously that's very dangerous when you're talking about if the turf is loose, starting, stopping, planting, running, ACLs, ligament damage. If you cut and the turf ain't there, it could be very dangerous. So it's definitely something we want to be cautious about. And, if it's unsafe for our players, then we're not going to be able to use it. What that looks like, when will it be replaced, things like that. That's kind of information, hopefully we'll be privy to here in the coming weeks. I will say, turf technology has come a long way. It only really takes from the day they start about 21 days to put in a brand new turf field. If all things go as planned and it doesn't rain like it has been. Yeah. Is there a possibility we don't play home games the first half of the season and we do the second half of the season? That's a very real possibility. So it's something that I definitely want to keep our parents updated on, something that is obviously very important, and we want to make sure we get done right.
Now, Coach, have any of the players come forward with questions or concerns? I know that having, let's say, senior night is something very special, and being on your home turf. Has there been any messaging from you and your staff about look, we got to continue, the show must go on, so to speak?
Yeah, actually, I think Mr. Crutch hit send on his email right as I was walking into the locker room, and a few boys got the email. And I had planned on talking to them about it, and I could start to hear some grumblings about it. And they're kids, and there's definitely some concerns. Yes, especially if you're a senior, you want to play home games, you want to have that senior night. And, so it's definitely something I addressed with the team when we talked about controlling the things you can't control. We can't control what is happening with the field, what's happening with the turf, but we can control showing up to practice, showing up to the weight room, and getting our work done. So. I definitely understand how it can be a distraction. It's just something that, we're working towards not allowing to be a distraction with the boys. And, hopefully they trust us. I trust my bosses to get it right. And, everything will work out.
Well, no, we appreciate the update. And, of course, with your weekly emails, there'll be more to come on that. But, again, thank you for the update. It's very topical and timely, especially because we have, just a few days away from camp. It's almost here.
Yeah, it's almost here. I sent out an email, this morning. I'm really excited to, after about, the last 7 or 8 months of the off season, since we took that last snap against Jackson, to getting this group back out on the field and competing, and kind of really want to reach out to parents and ask for their help. When you have 180 players, it really increases, the probability of alarm clocks not going off, people forgetting something to practice, waking up to a car battery being dead. So I really appreciate all the work, all the effort parents can do to help me get their kids there. I tell the boys all the time, you're one of 180. I'm trying to take care of 180 people. I need you to take care of one. So please, I appreciate anything you can do. Maybe, like I said, if your son needs sets 2 alarms, you help him set a third. You're calling him in the morning, making sure he's up, ready to go. I know a lot of parents get out for work very early. So anything you could do there is definitely appreciated. Uh, the parking next week could be a little interesting too. With the rain is pushed behind our parking lot project. So typically everybody parks at the middle school when they come to our practice field. Uh, that may not be a possibility. So, I don't want to have everybody in the old Lime lot, because if I have freshman parents in the old Lime lot and then guys coming to the next round, older guys parking in the Lime lot, that's going to be too many cars that, obviously increase danger, too much congestion. So if we could just keep the freshman parents, you guys use that Lime lot to drop your player off in the morning, at 7:45, 7:40. And then obviously I'll have you guys pick those players up there at 9:30. If you're dropping off a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader, you can also use the Lime lot. The only people that will need to park over at the high school are players driving themselves. That's really the only issue I see, with any of that congestion being over there. And, I know we talked about, the turf, that also kind of runs into some issues next week with our camp. If we start to get rain, especially heavy rain, we don't want to be on our grass. It's a long football season. We don't want to tear up our field. We've done a lot of work maintaining it, getting it looking nice. So, if we're getting a light rain, we'll probably stay over there. But if we get a heavy rain, we won't have that option of getting on the turf. If we have lightning, obviously we can't be outside. We may end up having to move into the cafeteria or the gym or something like that. And when we do that, that's when I probably just keep the varsity and we'll send the JV and the freshmen home. So everybody should definitely, in case of weather, keep an eye on their email.
Got it. And then for the parents that maybe have a freshman, you were talking about the freshman in particular, what can their son expect at camp? Like what goes on? Like, I remember I didn't have the opportunity to play football growing up, but two-a-days were something that, was common back then. So
Right.
what can parents expect? Obviously the hydration and nutrition is very important, but what can they expect? They drop their son off. What goes on during camp?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. I realize people kind of drop their kids off and trust us with them for that hour and a half. And, trust me, I don't take that lightly. We definitely try to take care of your kids. That first hour of camp, that's freshmen only. And they're getting direct attention from all 13 coaches, 12 coaches on my coaching staff. They're learning both offense and defense, running through individual drills, things like that. And we really take our time amping up the contact. The first 2 days are helmets only, so we're not concerned with the shoulder pads and running into each other. We're working on the technique, building leverage, and things like that. More worried about learning how we go about our business than, oh my goodness, I've got to run into somebody for the first time. And then, as we move through the week, we progress to half pads. So that's just the helmet and the shoulder pads. And then Thursday, Friday, we're working in full pads. And it's one of those things where we really work to try to build confidence in their ability to tackle and run their body into another human. We really take that seriously and try to progress and develop it. We definitely don't start at the end. It's definitely something we build up to as far as the contact is concerned to make sure they're doing it in the right way. So, and then that last 30 minutes, they'll spend freshmen only with the 3 freshman coaches, and they'll do a lot more team activities and things like that, and some running. So I would expect them to definitely be a little tired when they get in the car, a little sweaty. Pro tip would be to pack a towel in the car so they don't mess up your seats for sure.
That's a very good, important tip. If there's one takeaway from the last couple of years, that would be the big one. And during this time during camp, is this where they start working on plays, or is it more just technique, conditioning, and then after dead week, when the practices really start to count, is that when you start working on the plays and those sorts of things?
Yeah, with the freshmen, they the very basic techniques and stuff. Varsity dive in pretty quickly. Some of these guys have been doing it 2, 3 years. with the freshmen, lots of just basic technique of hitting pads and things like that. And then as we move through the week, we'll start progressing with, this is our base defense and how you line up. This is our base offense and our base plays. And then, we'll be evaluating the players the whole time and figuring out which pieces fit where.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this is like the opportunity for maybe someone that is on that bubble of maybe a 2 or a 1, to really, stand out.
Yeah, if there's a position that they really want to play and, hey, you really want to be a wide receiver? Well, hey, this is the time to show your hands, right? Hey, I want to be a linebacker. Well, you better show that you have some physicality and some speed. And then those are the things that we're looking for. And, as we move through camp, we'll start trying to find specific positions for players and building a solid freshman team.
Wonderful. And so once the camp is over, you move into a new phase. And so that would be dead week. And for those maybe not familiar, maybe freshman parents, what is dead week and what is it really designed to do?
Yeah, it's a week-long break before the fall starts. Okay, that's when me and my family go on vacation every year. It's put on by the state of Missouri. Kind of requires each school to take this week off before fall sports. Just so the kids get a break and kind of a reset. Everybody's getting their contact days in the summer, and this is just an opportunity for everybody to kind of take a step back for a week. Reset, and then come back ready to go for the fall.
And is there any tips or advice? Because I guess, no organized practice, but, the boys are still allowed to get together individually, right? Or work on conditioning or, just stay engaged
the boys
somehow.
are encouraged for sure to, pick up a lift on their own. I normally say go up to the turf and mess around. But it's really just the opportunity to get away from your coaches for a week. Coaches can't be supervising or doing anything, but obviously players can continue to, you'd want to remain active after 2 weeks of kind of building some conditioning, and then you want to remain active that week for sure.
Okay. No, that's very helpful because I don't know if other states have a similar, week where there's a little break in between practices, but those perhaps newer to the program.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, Missouri is the only state I've ever worked in or lived in, but I'm sure they do. It's definitely necessary for coaches too.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And that kind of moves us into a segment here about, what does their son do? And so after dead week and you start to get into practices, now it's time for the games and to go. Was wondering if you might share a position group and walk us through, what they do. So when we're watching from the stands, we could pick up some of the nuance in the game.
Yeah, really want to highlight our offensive line here. A lot of times, especially when you're watching the game, you get caught following the football and you really don't get to see what's happening up front, to make that play go. And this is really a fun play to kind of look at and digest and kind of figure out what's really going on. And you got to see how the execution of all 6 guys, leads to a touchdown. So, this play here from 2022, I'm going to let it roll through here the first time. So it's 2022. So you'll see Cole Rubel out here. A lot of people think, hey, it was, we'd get in the huddle and we call run left or we call run right. And, Cole definitely made a lot of things happen on his own, but he'll be the first to tell you too, is the guys up front that really helped him out and helped him make it happen. And it is a little bit more than run left, run right. So what I want to do, I'm just going to go ahead and let this play out the first time all the way through, and then we'll kind of go piece by piece of how we made it work. So this is again our Pattonville game, and we saw this 100 times. Cole Rubel breaks loose and scores. Hey, it's just another run to the right, and this play was all but that for sure. A lot of things happened to allow Cole here to kind of go untouched into the end zone. So this is actually the name of the play is Jag Twins 3 and then B-Dub-Dub. And B-Dub-Dub actually stands for Buffalo Wild Wings. So the B stands for something, the first W stands for something, and the last W stands for something. And we'll kind of walk through each one of those, but we didn't want to say Buffalo Wild Wings in the huddle. So We use B-dub-dub as kind of our tag for this play. So it's really based around kind of a trap concept where, this guy right here, if you can see my cursor, he flies upfield. We leave him unblocked. And typically you're going to pull the backside guard, the backside guard will pull and kick him out, and you'll try to run underneath him. We kind of ran a variation of that in this play. So that's what our normal trap play is. But the variation here, the B of the Buffalo, okay, this is for our quick guard, Trent Enlow. It's called blast. So typically on our trap play, he would be working towards his backside linebacker right here. But now what we're trying to ask Trent to do is we want him to come up and block the play side linebacker here. All right, so I'm going to play this one more time. We're going to watch Trent's block. Let's watch Trent's block as it happens here. Blast, he seals off the linebacker, and away we go. So that was the blast part of this play. The W, the wild, okay, so the W actually stands for wrong sell. So I know I mentioned earlier that we would typically take Max Sell on this play and pull him to the right. A lot of times, especially you'll see this linebacker here, these guys will be taught to follow the guards. So if we pulled Max to the right here, this guy would actually follow him this way. But as you'll see, we're going to tell Max to pull wrong, so wrong sell, and he'll actually pull left. Well, you're going to see this linebacker take 2 steps this way, and that's all we needed for Cole to find the seam. So you'll see Max pull out here this way, and you'll see this guy following just a step, all right? And I want you to watch and see how that gives Cole just enough time. He takes 2 steps right, 2 steps left, and we just have enough time to get in the end zone. All right, so that was the second W. The last W, okay, of the B-dub-dub, Buffalo Wild Wings, is our wham block. So I know I talked about trap at the beginning. Okay, typically you trap this guy with Sell, and Sell's pulling this way. Well, since we have Sell going wrong, we call this wham, and that tells our blocking back right here, Billy Hart, that now when this guy comes upfield, you're responsible for kicking him out. All right, so let's watch Billy's block here. Wham. All right, you see how he creates that gap. So that's B-dub-dub, and that's really that's really the responsible of 3 guys. I really want to highlight the other blocks that had to happen to make this play. Second, okay, a fourth, really, you have Jacob Weigel out here. Okay, he knows on trap, especially with a 3 technique right here, he's got to block out. So he's going to block out on this defensive end that's walked up to the line of scrimmage here. So we'll watch that block. He actually gets what's called a pancake block, puts his guy on the ground. Run it back. All right. So that's this sideline. Next comes our center. He knows he has to block down. All right. Our inside tackle over here, Noah Harden, he has to block out this way. And you're going to see Zach Hudson block out as well. I want you to see the wall. You're going to see a wall created by these 3 players. See that wall right there? Here they are, 1, 2, 3. Each one of them has their guy, and a wall is created right into the hole. And then last but not least, what had to happen to make this play work, okay, our tailback here, quarterback this past season, Tommy Gabar, his job, okay, we got this guy accounted for, this guy, no one for the corner. He's going to come through and make a play here on the corner that's walked up to the ball. And then last but not least, instead of Cole going straight into the hole, you're going to see him make a hesitation, and that gives all these blocks just enough time to set up, and we walk into the end zone. All right, so that was our Jag Twins 3 B-dub-dub. So like I said, it don't always work out that pretty. Not everybody gets their block that way, but there's definitely a lot going on up front. If you're just watching the ball, maybe it does look like run left, run right, but there really is some true nuances to the things that we have to do, and it really shows how smart our guys are and the things they have to know and the tags they have to remember and the adjustments we make each week. Takes a lot of work and dedication.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you highlighted 4 or 5 guys, and then I'm watching at the top of the screen, your 2 wide receivers, they're all doing something as well. So, I mean, it takes the whole team for something like this to happen.
Yeah. I mean, there's 1 guy with the ball and 10 without, and those 10 guys got to get on a head or a hat and really to make the play happen.
No, I appreciate you breaking down this tape, and we'll continue as we get closer to the season highlighting some other positions. But this was very, very insightful, and appreciate you sharing. And so that leaves us over to our spotlight. We were highlighting a team here. Now we get to focus on an individual. And again, we thank our sponsors, Lorenzo's Tacos and Burritos. They are gracious enough to sponsor this podcast. Also provide a gift certificate to today's person that we're going to spotlight. So, Coach, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about Tyler.
Yeah, well, first appreciate the support of Lorenzo's Tacos and Burritos. A couple kids in the program, and really appreciate the support they give this podcast and our football program. And really, I get the opportunity to highlight senior offensive lineman Tyler Jackson, and I really want to highlight his accomplishments that he's made on the track team this past spring. Qualifying as an all-state shot put thrower. There's a lot of guys in the spring, you think, well, hey, I'm either a baseball player or I'm not playing any sports. And it's really a good idea. Anybody that wants to become a better athlete, anybody that wants to become a better football player, to do track. If you're considering yourself an athlete, get out and run track, get faster. Track's not about being fast. Okay. Track is about getting faster. And we had a handful of guys, I believe 10 or so guys that ran track this year, and they all got faster, and you're going to get to see that improvement on the field. And then our big guys, they get to throw shot and disc. And we've had a great tradition of having some good throwers the last couple of years, and Tyler's been one of those mainstays. Very proud of him. I've had the pleasure of knowing Tyler for a very long time, back when he was in 3rd and 4th grade, and we could still steal his lunch money. But I'm not sure I would try that now with the young man that he's grown into. But incredibly proud of him, and I always have a lot of fun watching him compete in track. And good thing with that is he gets another year as a senior, and I'm happy to be able to give him this free lunch at old Lorenzo's Tacos and Burritos.
No, that's great. We're happy to highlight him, and certainly look forward to watching his success throughout the year. I mean, he's got some time left. So, wonderful that, we're able to highlight him and cherish all that he brings to us as a program. So that leaves us with our socials. Of course, please feel free to like, subscribe, not only to our football booster page on Facebook, but also we have a YouTube channel that's taking some of these podcasts and shorts and cutting them up. So that way you could watch it. I don't know if you'd want to watch me necessarily, but watch like the cut-ups of the big screen there on your TVs and other devices. So we invite you to check that out. And we also have posted on our Facebook page, the cornhole tournament is coming up. So registration is open. And Coach, I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the tournament.
Yeah, started putting some information out about our cornhole tournament this year. A 64-team tournament. We split it. Try to do our best to split it into 2 different brackets, a high and a low. $50 per team, and honestly, it's less about throwing bags and more about just kind of getting the team together, parents, players, coaches, and kind of getting away from the game and hanging out for a little bit on a Saturday. It's honestly one of my favorite Saturdays of the year. It's our only one big event that we do with the club to try to raise some money. And, Blue Bunting's going to be out there grilling up some steak and shake burgers and some hot dogs. Come on out, get some free food and throw some bags and help support the team.
Yeah, and it's a big day. So like prior to the cornhole tournament, there's, willing with our turf conditions, something else going on that morning.
Yeah, we got the blue and gold game, our blue and gold scrimmage. So, anybody that's new to our program, that's an opportunity for us to, by that time we've had 2 weeks of camp and a week of practice. So you're like, well, what's my kid doing? What's my kid learning? I'm dropping him off, but is he getting any better? So it's a great opportunity for us to kind of have an inter squad scrimmage with our freshmen and JV and our varsity, and have a little fun on a Saturday morning. I only ask for 2 Saturdays a year. I respect everybody's Saturdays, but I know everybody will be in town because it is a required practice. So come on out and throw some bags, have some fun. It is going to be at Furby Lang Park this year. We had a scheduling conflict with the Elks. So, bring your cooler, bring your chair, sit in the shade and throw some bags and support the football team.
Yeah, sounds like a great time. And of course, again, we have that all on our Facebook page. So please, check there for any kind of updates. But
Yeah, please, if you could sign up, if you know you're going to throw in the bags tournament, please sign up. Really allows us to plan a little bit better. I know we have a lot of day of people walk in, and that's fantastic. That's great, but it really does allow us to plan a little bit better when we know who to expect and what we can be expecting to be there. Also, this is a club run event. We're not hiring out any companies to do it, so we need boards and bags to make it happen. And I think right now we're up to maybe four boards that are being donated by, for use. Obviously, we're just borrowing them for the day. And we need about 8 more. So if we could get some help with that, that'd be greatly appreciated.
no, sounds good. And again, more information on our Facebook page. And so, Coach, that leaves us with, again, my favorite segment is where we get one of the junior Jags to step on up and ask you a question. So here's a question that comes from one of the eighth graders.
I'm Sam Rosenthal. I'm going into 8th grade. And my question is, how do you manage giving all your freshmen an equal amount of playing time?
Yeah, very good question. Such a large group, especially those coming in the freshman year. What do you and your coaches do to make sure that the kids get on the field?
Yeah, it's something very unique that we were able to do with our freshman team, something I'm pretty proud of. We're typically able to get 50 to 55 kids out on the football field in one game. And I know our player there just asked about equal playing time on the freshman team. It's not equal playing time, but it is playing time. We really do our best to make sure that guys that are showing up to practice know their jobs, know their responsibilities, and are good teammates, that they're getting out on the field and taking meaningful snaps for our freshman team. I talked a little bit to the team about it, the freshmen about it the other day. Freshman year is about learning the game. Even if you've played 3 or 4 years or you're new to the game now, there's still a lot to learn about how we go about our business here at the high school and what we want you to do. And, you may play one position freshman year, you may play a different position your sophomore year, things like that. It's more about getting you out on the field and getting some experience, really. And, we were able to get everybody out on the field because we do we do platooning, and you either have an offensive position or a defensive position. I know I hit on this a little bit earlier. But, we ask each person to take on a role on the team. Not everybody is going to score a touchdown. Not everybody is going to play defensive line. We ask players to make sacrifices for the team and play positions that they may not really want to make the team better. And we ask them to do that because players before them have done that. Trent Enlow, Max Sell, both guys that have been great defensive linemen for us. But instead, they were 3-year starting offensive linemen on our varsity. They won 28, and Trent won 28 games, and Max started and won 27 games, the most of any players in the history of our program. So I always feel like if guys like that are able to make the sacrifice, then freshmen can too. And really when it comes down to which freshman plays which position, we're really trying to build the best team and also give guys an opportunity to get on the field. Let's say you want to play receiver, but you're my 5th best receiver. But if I put you at corner, you're my 2nd or 3rd. Well, now I'm probably going to have you play corner because you have a better opportunity of getting on the field, growing and developing. And then the real key is getting you in the weight room the rest of the freshman year and then seeing how you progress as a sophomore. So, we're able to do what a lot of teams in our area aren't able to do. We get a lot of freshmen out on the field on a Monday night. And as of late, we've been pretty successful with it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, one of the things, and not to give away like what happens at the end of the year, but during the banquet, you talk about like the meaningful play. And, it's just a great time to, highlight and say, look, they may have not had a lot of playing time, but when they did, they maximized, their seconds or minutes out there.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is not everybody, like I said, is going to score touchdowns, see the same amount of playing time, but When one of our players gets out on the field, we're looking for that one moment, that big play. Not everybody's guaranteed, to have 15 or 20 of them, but we do try to get you one. So, it's something you have to come out and earn. And I'm proud when players are able to do it.
Sounds good. And so, Coach, that coming up on time, this half hour always seems to go by so fast, but wanted to give you the opportunity to close us out and leave us with some thoughts here as we roll into camp.
Yeah, as we put the helmet and shoulder pads on, I really want to make sure everybody knows the most important thing we can all do, especially with this large amount of people, is communicate. Continue to communicate with me if there's any issues or problems, or your player comes to you. Yesterday, we put out a depth chart for the JV and the varsity. Okay, obviously some guys are going to like where they're at, some are going to be disappointed where they're at. The main goal of putting out a depth chart for us is to have camp organized and maximize the amount of reps for all of our players, to really get the chance to evaluate them and see who's going to fit the best at each position. But when it comes to that too, I know some players are going to be discouraged about where they're at, or they might have a question about, what's really my role on the team, or what do I got to do, to get that, to be better than this person? What's coach really looking for? A lot of times I find, players are having those conversations with their parents when they should be having that conversation with me. So it's definitely something I want to talk to your player about. So, anytime they come to you with a concern like that, or a playing time concern, I'm open to talk about these things with players. I'll happily talk to them about what we're seeing and what we need them to do. And, I talk to the boys too. Sometimes at the end of the day, your best sometimes isn't good enough. Sometimes that player is still better than you, even though you're trying your best. And when that's the case, if you find yourself second on the depth chart, you're number 2, we need you to keep working. You need you to keep preparing like you're going in, because one play, we're playing football, as I told them, we're not playing checkers. So, it's one play and you go in and you may never come out. So, if you're not starting, if you're not on the depth chart where you want to be, you need to prepare for when you do get that opportunity. You talk about guy, I highlighted Jack Schlechte in front of the whole team. Last year, definitely going into camp, a guy we had penciled in to start at linebacker, had an injury, and then we kind of went through camp, got through the first couple weeks of the season, and we were playing pretty well. And, Jack found himself as second string. Me and him talked. I told him, hey, keep working, keep grinding, keep preparing. Well, one play and all of a sudden Jack's in and he's in the Fox game, and Jack never comes off the field the rest of the season. And really stories like that, throughout last year, the seasons before that, it has really what's made us, as successful as we've been, is really that next man up mentality and guys continuing to prepare to get on the field. So, as we round about to what I really want you to know, please just have your player communicate to me. When we have 180 guys on the team, they could kind of question, what's really my role out here? And I want to make sure they know what it is, because I have an idea for all of them.
No, it's great. We appreciate you sharing that. And it's that next man up mentality that just makes the program that much stronger, that, you have that depth and a luxury that perhaps other teams don't. So, you're certainly in the driver's seat there. So Coach, again, thank you so much for your time, and certainly good luck with the start of camp. We're rooting for you, and look forward to our next conversation.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Carl.
All right, thank you.